Pleasant good evening to you. Welcome to the GMS Live, the Voice of Democracy. Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. From Guyana, good evening to you all. I'll take another minute before I start, so share the live, share the live, share the live, share the live, share the live. As you come in, share the live. Thank you for joining. Share the live, share the live, share the live. Good evening, good evening, good evening once again. Share the live. Share the live, share the live, share the live. Share the live, share the live, share the live. I take one more minute. Yes, one more minute before I start. A pleasant good evening to you all. Share the live stream as you now come in. Share the live stream. A very pleasant good evening to you all from Guyana to the Caribbean Isles, to the West Indian Isles, to the Pacific Isles, to the British Virgin Isles, to the US Virgin Isles, to the Maldives, Mexico, US, Canada, UK, EU, China, Beijing, Hong Kong, Japan, Taiwanese Straits, to the Korean Peninsula, to Tajikistan and Uzbekistan, to Pakistan, and also to India. Welcome to you all, to those on this Australian continent, Melbourne and Tasmania. Welcome to you all, to those who are joining me from Greenland and Iceland, to those who are looking at the Gavin Matthews show all the way from New Zealand and the Tonga Isles, to those who are looking at the Gavin Matthews show from the African continent, from Mozambique to Cote d'Ivoire, to the Ivory Coast, to Sudan, to Nigeria, to Angola, to South Africa. Welcome to you all who are listening and looking at the same time. To those who are joining us from the South American continent, as far as Chile and Argentina, and Venezuela and Colombia, and Brazil, Suriname. French and Dutch Guyana. To those who are looking at the Gavin Matthews show from the Netherlands, which is a combination of countries. Then to Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados, Curacao, many in Guyana who would like to be noticed, especially from 58th Village, Berbice. Welcome to you all. Tonight is a very good topic. And, I would appreciate those who would want to call by WhatsApp. So let's talk about this topic. Distract and deflect. one would understand every time there is something going on in Guyana or expected to go down, there's always a distract and deflect policy that comes into place. Can you, to those who are looking, remember when NIS money was borrowed to build the Barbase Bridge, there were a lot of deflection and distraction. Don't even let us look at Guyana. Look at external, some of those big countries, first world countries, as we may want to call them. Look and see when something is going to happen. There is always a distraction and deflection. When ExxonMobil said to the Guyanese public that, well, look, we spent 9.5 billion US dollars trying to extract oil from two major wells. 9.5 billion. You know what's a distraction there? They said the wells were dried. That was a distraction. How would we know that the oil that they got from those dried wells was of commercial value? How would we know? And if they did get it, how would we know how much is the cost and the amount of the oil that they gain from those dried wells? Because they have gained some sort of substance from those oil, from those wells, oil wells. Now there's another distraction. They're now trying to table a document that talks about local content. I'm beginning to scratch my head because I'm really trying to find out what does these people think that they're doing. What local content? We have a constitution that says for everything that needs to be passed in parliament pertaining to laws and bylaws and scrutinies are supposed to be that of a bipartisan aspect. They find time where they can sit down and counsel one to another on the best way forward. That's not happening. Their own people are giving up on them. Christopher Ram is one of them, who's saying that a government that does not or cannot or does not want to negotiate should remain in opposition. Now we have all sorts of persons speaking out, even to the naked skin guy. He's starting to speak out. The deputy speakers, a lot of us may say. He's their friend. He himself now is speaking. Now we have a lot of persons who are now talking because you find out that there's a distraction all the time. And because we're not focused, we become more distracted. You think the 7% payout that they're talking about is niceness? It's causing a distraction. Heaven knows what else is on their plate to take from us. We already seen a debt that we can't pay. And here, it's 9.5 billion. The sovereign wealth fund barely got $1 billion US. Barely. We're just a few hundred million shy. So when are we going to get monies to enjoy ourselves in this country? And I'm saying enjoy because apparently the entertainment is kicking off. When are we going to start experiencing the flow of the oil wealth in this country? How are we going to experience it? When we don't got a budget, a receipt, sorry, of money spent. You could imagine 9.5 billion US dollars spent in trying to extract oil from those two dried well, and not a Guyanese gets a sense of that money. What kind of company we got investing in this country, man? I am trying to really sit down and conceptualize and to think, what kind of investment do we have in this country? One company spent 9.5 billion US in Guyana, and the Guyanese has never even felt a drip of it. 9.5 billion. I wonder where this money gone. Who they really spent it on? How are we feeling the effects of this big money that is spent? Did our economy gain some weight from it? One tends to ask the question, where was the money spent? They're now trying to find the audit and trying to find out where did that money spent. How was it spent? Who spent it? Where did they go? The items that they spent utilizing this money, did it come from Guyana? Did the money went in rates and taxes? Did it go to customs? Where did such of money went to? Did it go in salaries as pertaining to employment? Where all this money went? 9.5 billion. Nobody seems to be talking about it. But it's a lot of distract and deflect so they can take from us. So when they distract us and deflect us upon what's up on the news, then we become, as a country, once upon a time, that we were once called Guyana. That's what's going on. And nobody seems to be talking about it. You know, sometimes I wonder where are all these people that we call social media entertainers or social media political hosts or civil rights hosts. Where are all these people? They suddenly got quiet. Since the PPP got in, they suddenly got quiet since they were installed. And it looked like we doesn't even really care as a country. We don't care. Today I was talking to a few persons on the road because I went to do what we call a freelance talk on the street or in the street, however you want to put it. And I turned on my cellular phone and I went to Facebook trying to see if I can go live on the streets using the phone, and somebody sent me a message where a young lady I figured out dressed in maybe a customs uniform or some sort or the other, but her name was Prasad. But you can tell her father maybe were Indian or her mother because she's relatively mixed up. And she said to the general public that the previous administration didn't give her anything. So she's welcoming 7% and hoping that the administration double up next year on the other percentages. I was sitting down at the friend's stand, and as I was looking at the video, I wanted to know, is she living in Guyana? Because if so, I'm trying to find out which part of Guyana was she living. I'm trying to find that out. Which part of Guyana? I mean, seriously, the previous administration didn't give you anything? Are you going to tell Guyanese that 7% is acceptable by you? I'm beginning to wonder, what else do we accept? What else do we take away by the 7%? There's something big that is coming. Distract and deflect. There is. When you see this de facto administration behaving like that, there is an understanding in which they want to distract and deflect because it's a distraction for what is yet to come. You have the elections petition 99 and 88 that nobody seems to be hearing about. That is still yet to come. Maybe there'll be a different ruling on it. We don't know what is in the ball courts of the PPP, the People's Progressive Terrorists Party. But I can tell you this. As we continue to sink more and more and deeper into the tyranny and terror of the PPP as a country, we continue to lose focus. Because at the end of the day, it is our constitution that has been still being taken away from us, that some of us don't have a clue about. And indeed, we don't have a clue about. All that went on in this country for the past year and change, some of us are still doesn't even know or knowingly understand what has happened for that period of time. Some of us really, really don't. We're living here, yes, but some of us don't even pay any attention because we got to get home to feed our children. We got to get home to make their lives better. We got to get home to try to make our homes more comfortable so we can understand what to do the next day. But where our current affairs are concerned, don't have a clue. And then as long as you turn on the radio, it's more distraction. You turn on the TV, it's more distraction. You check. Anybody selling you anything pertaining to your health that you can stay healthy? No. Anybody renting you a place or an apartment in an environment that can be healthy for you and your children, and trying to make life better for you? No, they're not. Any employer trying to make your surroundings comfortable so you can work better? No, they're not. They got right now people who trying to destroy the lives of those that are left wailing in this country just because of a political purpose and a reason. They do have those people. They got people that you wanted to know exactly what are they talking about at the end of the day. Why are they standing up to tell you things that doesn't make sense? Because they think that they're surviving. Yes, you have a right to survive too, but because they think that their way is the best way, following the PPP. You know, to all those who look at my show, I'm always on one point: the People's Progressive Party. They're a terrorist organization. They're a terrorist group of people. The only thing they promote and do is terror, racism. They are now be seen as a colonial power to oppression, and they don't care. They just don't care. And when you try to represent yourself, you've been placed between a rock and a hard place because you lose your job, you lose your pension, then you lose your mortgage, then you lose the car money. So you're left out in the streets and you don't know what to do because you're accustomed being employed. That's the only thing we can do, to be employed. But to be self-employed, we want to think micro instead of macro. So you find we keep running back into the same issues all the time. You know, Guyana is becoming deeper and deeper into a place that they call catastrophe. It's going deeper into that place. And the catastrophe is where we will meet a point where we cannot choose anymore with this de facto administration. These people are bound set to take your powers away from you by all means necessary. And if you don't stay focused, we will always end up like this. Even today, I was looking at the word death, and then I put the word glorious next to it because that's what I expect. You know why I expect that? Because dictatorship has not only returned, but it's developing every single day. Every day, our dunce as a president and our prime minister and our vice presidents and all of them are sinking deeper into dictatorship. So that means just now for people like me who stand against them, they're going to say, look, you went wrong too long. It's time for go now. But here is the hurtful part of the thing. The hurtful part of the thing is that all these people that behaving so bad, that wanted to be such evil, that tells the world that they're the devil. All of them, they want to go to heaven. But nobody wants to die to meet there. I don't know how they can sit down and persuade church leaders that they're the holiest of holy and they're mightiest of mighty, because I'm trying to understand which part of the church they go to. I'm telling you. These people have been so ridiculous that every day, you open the papers, is a constant ridicule. It's a constant oppression. It's a constant stigma to the color black. It's constant. It's over and over and over. It becomes, the God is saying is, when you tell a lie so many times, it constantly becomes the truth. That is what we're falling into as Guyanese, because the lies has been peddled so many times. Here is the lie. You get the police force arrest a man based upon allegation. You send him on full pay leave. You never got the evidence. You can't come back to work because the principle of the policy within the principle says, as long as you are in the courts with matters pertaining to your office, you cannot hold such position until when those matters are finished. So here is the problem now. Nobody telling you. So they catch Lowenfield, they catch Roxanne Sears, and they catch Mingo, and they pay them off. Send them on leave full paid, and they paid them off. Say, well, look, watch. Lowenfield look 30, Roxanne look 25, and Mingo look this amount. And y'all take this severance package along with it. And y'all walk in the corner, make sure no truck in after that. You know why? Because they cannot have a order that can stop them. Now they want to blatantly put somebody in there as the chief elections officer. To do what? To rig the election in front of our face again? Now, if the opposition, as they claim themselves are, would go register to contest an election with those people are in, that means that they're abiding by the policies of Wiltshire and Claudette Singh. That's what they're abiding. Because if you could go and register to contest in elections, and you know that these people that sits in GCOM are not qualified for the position, that's one. They are persons of questionable characters, that's two. And so many fraudulent things that are added to their names, they're even guilty. And you won't take them same people and put them there. Put the puss to watch milk. What do you think that happen? You can drink it out. You can drink it out. And a lot of people don't know certain things. Their own history, they don't know. You can imagine 23 years was just the other day. It was just the other day. 23 years was just the other day. And you know what happened the other day? 1,480 Guyanese died. These are the continuous distraction. They don't want us to come on the airwaves or the social media and tell people these things. You mustn't say these things. It's terrorizing and belittling the party, but then you need to get up and speak out because the party is continuing to be continuing to be a dictatorship. The People's Progressive Terrorist Party. They are continuing to practice terror, mayhem, and murder. Our little black children, black boys and fathers and sons are dying out because of the PPP. And the PPP now is going to take those that they have to preach their gospel. Yes, the black slaves, they're going to use them to preach their gospel. And because it's constantly preached, it starts sounds like the truth because it's the house slave they're using to do it. You could imagine one man say racism, but in Guyana, I want to know if he's living in Guyana. The fourth great prime minister. So many cruel things has happened so many times that you cannot depend upon the ethnic relation commissions anymore to lodge a complaint. That's why Guyana Human Rights Association is closed down. Because first you got to do it according to the policies of local complaints. You got to report it to the police. After the police forward it to the Ethnic Relations Commission, who would now approach the Guyana Human Rights Association to counsel on that matter. It can't move from the Ethnic Relations Commission because we still got Roshan Kandil. I think we forget about him. We forget about him. He's one of those enablers. And because he's enabling, it's impossible for now. Imagine I made a report there. I submitted that report against their own commissioner. You all can remember when I submitted that report, right? That's since February month of this year. Made that report. It hasn't come back to my email as yet. I called and that decision wasn't made as yet. Because the United Nations Human Rights body is saying that these are the policies that you have to fulfill before you come to us. You got to make the report. You got to go to the Ethnic Relations Commission. The Ethnic Relations Commission makes that report to the Guyana Human Rights Association, which forwards it now to the European Union. You think that can be fair? Think about it. You're still waiting on to this day for questions to be asked, so questions can be answered. You're still waiting this day for the two Henry boys, the cousin, for their murders and their deaths to be investigated properly. The sample like it last in Trinidad or it went to Barbados or somewhere to do the lab investigation. When I look at the Director of Public Prosecution's office being burnt, I had to laugh. I said, oh, what a rocky mess. This is what we got to deal with. Imagine this is what we got to deal with. And someone says, oh, but just now the Americans going to assist me. The Americans can't even assist me. Look, one little youth man, 17 years old, get free. When he is on live television showing, shooting protesters and killing them. And he's been set free because of a certain clause in the law that allows him to walk the street with an assault weapon. Can you imagine that? Can you tell me then that what I talked about last night, this is what I said, because some people call me and try to trash me about it. But this is what I said. As long as we turn a blind eye to those who are suffering under the pain of its oppression, we will never escape its origins. The only safeguard people of color has is the right to defense. And you imagine they set a child free who killed 3 people. And justice system does not even give them that. The promise to human rights has never been fulfilled due to the failure of our justice system. Our defense system doesn't even work. So how can justice work, especially in a country like this, and we're waiting on America to assist us in justice or justification? We're waiting on the United States of America to assist us. So how can justice work? We have some long backlogs of cases. It's all, to those who are joining, it's all about staying focused because it's a distract all the time. It's becoming a constant distraction. And when we become distracted, we lose the sense of focus on what is important to us because the PPP loves to play that game. They love to take things away from us. And they take it away from us in front of our faces, so we can't even ask them for it. If we put up a fight, we're dead. And because a lot of us don't want to put up a fight, we accept the things that they do to us. We prefer to remain silent while they are killing out our culture and our youths. They just don't care. So you can imagine now what's on the plate of the PPP. They're showing you the conditions of these people, and they're not even lasting long. But they want to terrorize the nation continuously. They want to take your freedom away from you. They want to hack your will from the Constitution because that's what they're doing. The local content, the expectations of the local content makes no sense. And the sudden division of Region 4, it's like cold-blooded rigging again, right in front of your face. And you can't do nothing about it. They're creating the law that gives them the possibility to rig. And when it is challenged and it's kicked through the door, don't create another one to rig again. That's what's happening. So the justice system is aligned itself in the pockets of the PPP. That's what's happening. If you ain't got money, you ain't got bargain. Money runs this country right now. But it's the kind of money that running this country. It's the money that's not even available. It's bare promises. You don't see Patrick Yard kicking against certain things. Now he decides to wake up. Guyanese stay focused. Distracted deflecting is going on right now, and they're doing it at a high scale, at high noon. They're not waiting until this in the evening to distract and deflect. They're just doing it. They don't care if you're vexed or you're annoyed. They just know that they can wake up in the morning and spend taxpayers' money. That's all they're doing. That's all they are doing. Just wake up and know that they can spend taxpayers' money without even we questioning them of how they're spending it. And suddenly, like, we can't do that either because we're in for a ride of our lives. And the people them who coming to ride us like horses are our slaves. They're turning up at our homes with bridles in our mouth. To put bridles in our mouths. We gotta be serious. We got to. We can't let people to continuously progging and taking our lives down a barrel that's draining out into the ocean. I mean, down a pipeline that's straight draining out into the ocean. We can't afford these things, man. It's too much grievances, it's too much heartaches, it's too much. We're going through too much of a perilous time to just sit down and don't do nothing. Therefore, yes, it's the first time I ever saw hunger in its full effect in that Amerindian village. I don't know who posted that photograph on Facebook, but it tells you that people are starving, they're not eating. And that's just a one thing you're seeing there. You can imagine how many more they have. Times are getting hard. We need to understand as Guyanese, we need to put ourselves together, form a cooperation where we sell our produce and we help each other build because the de facto administration is doing nothing to help us build. Nothing at all. And we don't expect them to do nothing. They're not accustomed doing anything. These people doesn't know what to govern or how to govern. They just know how to take, steal, and destroy all the time. And people jumping up representing them. Like if they're the best of the best, they're the worst of the worst. Then we got these radio stations promoting them. We got radio stations telling each other, well, God, they look like they're doing nice things. What nice things are you talking about? Since they come, what nice things have they produced economically to the Guyanese economy, to our GDP, the gross domestic product? Nothing. Everybody talking about oil money. Like if oil money is going to save us, it is saving you. 9.5 billion done spent. What we get from it? And I talk about US currency. What did we get from it? Zero. Zilch. Nada. You know why we get nothing? Because the contract says so. And to renew the contract, both parties got to sit down and make that decision. So we can't renew the contract. We can't get two-thirds of the parliament to agree to a document so we can approach the sovereign wealth fund for getting money to stabilize our country. The PPP prefer to make us their slaves, and not me. Make Guyanese their slaves whilst they do that. Can you imagine? Imagine. I went into the market and I saw a bunch of planting that sells. It looks like it has at least £3. and the person who's selling it wants $170 per pound on the bunch. $170. Can you tell me how a person can survive suddenly buying consumable items that has jumped 200%? Things that used to sell for 14, 16, $80 per pound on the bunch are now selling for 100, 200, 300 per pound on the bunch. Can you tell me how Guyanese, how can you just sit down and accept this kind of carnage, and that we try to tell ourselves we're going to live in it? Are we accustomed to so much slavery that we don't want to come out of it? This is carnage to the highest. This is crimes against humanity by a terrorist regime. Can you imagine all these things are happening, and yet still we're turning a blind eye because we don't want to confront these things that are going on? Well, we have to. We have to confront what is going on. You know, it's sad to see that on a daily basis we gotta go through these events that is tearing apart our lives. And somehow or the other, we tend to forget it. We tend to forget everything. To the person who's asking the question about Paul Slow, since the DPP office is brought down with the prosecutor office and all the files, we don't know where it stands. Remember, it was Breakdown that was burnt down, and then it was DPP that was burnt down. Both places houses files for prosecutors. So that's what is going on right now. With all that is going on right now, I don't know where the cases stand. Not even mine. Not even with the Henry boys. Not even with nothing right now. Nothing that is important. We don't know where those cases stand. But we're having serious problems. The problems we're having is that it's a continuous destruction of our state and country. It's a continuous destruction. It's a perilous road that we're heading down, that we're not gaining any benefits from. Everybody's talking about this big money, big money, big money, but we're not even receiving an ounce of it. It continues to dawn on me to see that no matter what is said and done on these social media platforms, no one seems to move forward. Everybody's waiting on someone to pick up and move. Like talking to another individual today, the person said, when Mr. Norton going, then he can decide to move because Mr. Norton can cover him. And we're going back to the same thing over and over. We depend upon one leader, one man, to bring us out of this tyranny and destruction we're a part of. We keep depending on one man. And when that one man let us down, we gone back to square one. We become so weak and tired that we can't labor in the mark into the we can't give our labor into a revolution because we become so weak. We become unable to think. You know, I want to talk a little bit about giving out taxpayers money. There's a lot of events that are coming up for the Christmas season that was awarded to HJ again, contracts from the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture. And people are getting a hard time with accepting that fact that is going on. There is there's a family that I want to talk about that is very much in need. There are three of them. And to those who are looking at the Gavin Matthews show, it's going to be the holidays that are coming up. And the assistance to me that they would need is a lot. They don't need assistance to have fancy food, cake, and drink, and all these things. They need the assistance of a normal meal. They need the assistance of a normal meal. Now, I said to more than one person, so I wanted to come away from this because I didn't want to stay in it because it brings a lot of bad talk, bad name. I've learned it already from a previous donor and I wanted to stay away from it. So I'm saying to you, those who would want to contribute towards a feeding program at Christmas time, or for a couple of hampers to be given away for the less fortunate, there's an overseas number that I would like you to collect. After the show, you can call me and I'll be happy to give it to you. Because at the end of the day, helping in the needs of someone to progress is something we should all do.